most skillful human beings in a technical way ever to inhabit the earth or ever will built the pyramids. Man has never reached that point again. He is a child in comparison to the great engineers who built the pyramids. If they give you credit for this, they'll have to take back the other lives.
We'll take a break and we'll come right back with more in Dr. John Henrik Clarke live in the GBE from the world-famous Apollo Theater. King James Version brings us back inside of our broadcast live from Talk Radio 1190 WLIB. As you know, we are moving into Africana History Month, and we are certainly pleased to have one of our best scholars and certainly one of our most beloved elders. May we welcome him back, Dr. John Henrik Clarke.
Thank you.
And we do want to again mention Dr. Clarke's visit today, among other reasons in relationship to the month, is to herald the 4th annual Yosef Ben Yekinen Banquet. This is coming up Friday, February 7th at Minisink Townhouse at 646 Lenox Avenue, corner of 142nd Street. The time is 7 to 11 p.m. Again, it's Friday, February 7th at Minisink Townhouse, 646 Lenox Avenue, 7 to 11. We'll give you more details as we continue our program this morning. Dr. Clarke.
What we need to understand about not just Nile Valley Civilization, but civilization period. Civilization, like Broadway shows, need a stage for rehearsal. And when you look at a civilization, find the rehearsal stage. The rehearsal for the civilization of Egypt was in the area we now know as Ethiopia and the Sudan. If you go to the Sudan today, you will find experiments in pyramid building, experiments in the ideals that later culminated in Egypt. But in the Sudan, they were using kiln-dried brick. In Egypt, they found a stone quarry. And the only reason the pyramids in the south did not last is that the material they used wasn't as durable as the material used in the north. Now, what you have to deal with here is a river that's a contradiction among rivers. Most rivers start in the north and flow to the south. The Nile Valley starts in the south and flows to the north. And so when you say upper, you mean low. So really the upper Nile is really Ethiopia and Uganda and the Sudan. The lower Nile is really in Egypt. And so when we talk about the first cataract and the second cataract, you got it exactly backwards. Because what you call the first cataract really is the sixth cataract. Because the first cataract is way back down there, down south. Now you understand Arthur Schlesinger Jr. and all of these know-nothings trying to steal Egypt. Now you understand why they got to steal Egypt. When Egypt emerged, the last of the Ice Age was just thawing out in Europe. And they were looking around for something to eat. They hadn't even built a decent house. They sure couldn't build any pyramids. And didn't have any stone. If they could build a pyramid. Now, somebody said the Hebrews built the pyramid. And one of the main reasons why black people accept so much nonsense from people is because they do not even look at historical chronology. All of the pyramids were built between the 3rd and about the 7th dynasty. The Hebrews did not enter Africa until the 13th dynasty. 1,000 years after the last one was built. Abraham, the first of the Hebrews, wasn't even born at this time. Now, give them credit for what they did. They did encounter a great body of spiritual literature. The Book of Gates, the Book of Conanu, the Book of the Coming Forth by Day and Night. They did extract from that, plus African folklore and teaching stories, the elements that later ended up in the Bible. Give them credit for what they actually did and what they still are. They are great record keepers. And any time it suits their benefit, they are great record changers. Pay some attention to this, because too many times your record is interpreted to you because you didn't keep the record. What is Dr. Ben saying in his writing? He's putting the record straight, and he's asking you as students and laymen, keep your own record.
Exactly.
So there'll be no doubt in the world to come as to what you did and did not do, because you wrote it down while it was happening.
Dr. Clarke, a point here. When we go into Dr. Carter G. Woodson, and I mentioned the Miseducation of the Negroes, the book that people most tend to know him for on a mass level, he talked about overturning, I think he said 26 or 28 years of an Ivy League education. What was his perspective on what he saw as the importance of this history countering the global white supremacist version of history?
He thought that this made us a whole, history made us a whole people. And while the Miseducation of the Negro is his most readable book and the most useful book, his monumental book, his what we call a magnum opus, the Negro in our history. Another work was The Education of the Negro prior to 1661. His major work on the black church, his work on the black wage earner. The man was prolific in his writing. We should know him for Miseducation of the Negro, but he thought that people who had not recognized their role in history, like wholeness as human beings, and he married his work. It was his mission. It was his wife and his relatives. As he saw life, he actually never got married. He just worked at preserving our history. That was his life. That was all of it.
This is Africana History Month. Dr. John Henrik Clarke is with us live at the world-famous Apollo. News headlines next, and we'll come back with more on the GBE live at the Apollo and Talk Radio 1190 WLIB. GBE live at the world-famous Apollo Theater. Our guest this morning, may we welcome him back to the airwaves into the world-famous Apollo, Dr. John Henrik Clarke. Again, brothers and sisters, we point your attention towards the 4th annual Joseph Ben Jekinen Banquet. It is happening Friday, February 7th at the Mini Sink Townhouse at 646 Lenox Avenue, 7 to 11 p.m. For information, you can call 212-281-1700 or 212-281-9088 or 212-234-8550. There are gifts and checks and money orders being accepted by the banquet committee for Joseph Ben Jekinen, Post Office Box 617, Hamilton Grange Station, New York, New York 10031. There's a point maybe to mention here, Dr. Clarke, and you were addressing it in your earlier remarks, and when you mentioned Carter G. Woodson and the kind of dedication that he showed in his life to us, Sometimes we see a set of circumstances where historians like yourself, like Dr. Ben, like Dr. Woodson, do the work that you do, and we don't sometimes see the kind of support that's necessary. You were talking about Dr. Ben's work and the importance of that work. Could you elaborate a bit more, and certainly on the necessity of people getting behind supporting that effort?
Well, it's significant that you get behind, because Dr. Ben's work and the work of people like Dr. Ben, there's not that many out there now, and we are dwindling, and although it's all right with you, we would both like to live 1,000 years, but we know we're not going to do it. We're not going to be around forever. We should be training young people, and we do as best we can. Because Dr. Ben and myself and a few others in this field, we're preserving records for your children not to cringe when they mention history. And when other children are showing their historical wares in the marketplace, your children too can say, this is what I did. And we want your child to, we want to have to prove. And we want a kid to be bold enough to walk into a room and say that, you want to know what I did? Turn off all those fluorescent lights. One of us created the incandescent light and the filament that goes into the electric light. While Edison had the principle, we had the practicality. And that was Louis Latimer. And Latimer created the mechanics of the whole Gatling gun that became the rapid-fire machine gun. He laid out the design for the telephone. Graham Bell, before he could pattern it, Latimer had to lay out that design. But the other thing, the coupling on the railroads, another black inventor, and the lubrication system, another black inventor, Elijah McCoy. So many white people stole from Elijah McCoy. When white would go to pattern a lubrication system, the pattern office want to know whether you stole it directly from Elijah or indirectly. Is this the real McCoy?
Is it the real McCoy?
Black inventors helped to industrialize this nation. So all these people who got here day before yesterday questioning our presence, man, go back where you came from. You go back where you... I came from here. and I came here to build it so you could be here 200 years later. I have the same claim on Africa as any other African walked this earth, and I got the same claim on the United States as any other person in the United States. I got a just claim on both places, and not going to yield either one.
Dr. Clarke, when you say that, you know, I think that there's a place where, when we have the various types of discussions that we have, and brothers and sisters may come forth on the microphone, and I know that some brothers and sisters who perhaps mean well, maybe approaching it from a Pan-African point of view, will talk about the idea of cutting off all of our connection with this country, and I'm talking about your last remark. It might be good for you to elaborate on that, because there's some brothers and sisters who feel that we should have nothing to do with America and have no claim to it at all. You were speaking about that, and obviously you have a different point of view.
I'm not. If I put $1,000 in the bank, I'm not gonna walk by that bank. I ain't gonna have nothing to do with that bank. They can keep my $1,000. I ain't no fool. I got too much deposit in this country, blood and sweat, and hope in the life of my people and children. And I think that I'm gonna have something to do with the United States, even if I can free all Africa and make it the most glorious spot on earth. I still not gonna relinquish my claim. All that blood and all those kids hung and all those places in jail, all those heads beaten, all the shoes I've shined, the floors I've mopped. Come on, tell me, you owe me something. I made you comfortable. I mean, no. No, you can't say even Stephen and let me go.
Let me just say, for those of you who are here who would like to talk to Dr. Clarke, I always enjoy the pleasure, but for those of you who like to pose some questions or comments to him as well, you can come forward. Stage left, stage right microphones will be available to you. We'll also open up our telephone lines at 692-9542 and 1-800-332-1023. Those are the numbers that will put you in touch wherever you happen to be: Manhattan, Brooklyn, the Bronx, Queens, Long Island, Staten Island, New Jersey, upstate, out-of-state, Connecticut. Wherever you happen to be, you can join us in the GBE live at the Apollo. Dr. Clarke, just maybe maybe one other point before we go to our listeners. Dr. Leonard Jeffries, who will be joining us at 12 noon today, is, as you know, under fire, under attack, and much of this began at the point that the issue of a curriculum of inclusion began to be discussed. You mentioned Schlesinger and some of the other people who obviously were involved in that, and who are now behind a very vicious attack on Dr. Jeffries. What's your view on what's happening in that situation?
Well, what Jeffries has done, he's opened a door that was supposed to stay closed. For the last 500 years, the history of the world has been told to make European people feel good at the expense of other people. And if you open that door wide and point to all those skeletons, you see the skeletons of millions of people unsung. The indigenous Americans killed in the Caribbean islands. Father D.Les Castles recorded it as from 12 to 25 million. And Christopher Columbus initiated this murder. And this made it a necessity to increase the African slave trade. And he's directly responsible for the depopulation of a continent. He's no hero to us. He can't possibly be a hero. He was the beginning and the forerunner of the mafia type to come to the new world. Now, Professor Leonard Jeffries wanting a curriculum of inclusion. Of course, I want a curriculum of truth and curriculum of correction. And I maintain that American curricula as now stand is not worthy of including me with my truth. Include my truth with your lies is like pouring clean water into a dirty glass. Whew. So I go beyond. I go beyond just a curriculum of inclusion. I want a curriculum of correction and truth. Then once you engage in correction and truth, then I'll be included. I want to know the truth about the American Revolution. I don't necessarily think you need to take white people out of history to get us in history, but place us in our right place, place him in his right place. I mean, I want to know the story of these 5,000 blacks who fought in the American Revolution against the United States. And, because Washington, someone got to them and told them that the British got to them and told them, I'll give you freedom if I win. And they believed the British, and they fought with the British. When the British lost, they had to send them out of here. So they went. There's some of them, their descendants are living in Nova Scotia right now. There have been several PhD theses on them. What the best is called a book called The Black Loyalists. I mean, let's let the whole truth come out. I want to know the story, include the story of the two blacks who saved Washington's life, including Phoebe Francis. And let the whole story. You have to take Washington out, but include Phoebe Francis in.
Let's take some of your telephone calls and give you the chance to join us live with Dr. John Henrik Clarke. We'll start stage right.
What's up? Dr. Clarke, Channel 13 is running a series called The Legacy of Civilization. They're claiming that Iraq, formerly known as Babylon, started civilization, that 3000 BC they started writing, and they put all the audience, and they claim that civilization started with the cities, and Babylon was the first city. I'm also curious as to how they're going to treat the pyramids of the Americas, and will they connect that to Egypt, Africa? This is my comment.
Well, look, I've traveled a lot in my lifetime among all kinds of people. Every time any people tell you they started civilization, smile politely and say, so amazing, how nice. Everybody thinks they started civilization. The Yorubas say they started, the Igbos say they started, the Akans say they started it. I like the Akan story. Go to the Akans in Ghana, that god Anan blew his breath, created some Sum. Blew his breath again, created some human beings. Go forth, you great Akan people, and civilize the world. He said, stop, gotta have a chop. Nobody does anything in Akan culture before the banquet. You cannot civilize the world on an empty stomach.
God bless you.
Talk Radio 11.
Enjoy all of the stories about creation and civilization. Take all of them with a grain of salt.
Talk Radio WLIB. We'll go to our telephone line, too, and welcome you into our broadcast. You're on the air with Dr. John Henrik Clarke. Go right ahead, please. Yes, good morning. Go right ahead.
Yeah, how you doing?
You're in the air. Go right ahead. Good morning.
Yeah, I have heard a whole lot of people asking if Cleopatra was black. And I kept saying to myself, it's like the Native Americans talking about the Mayan civilization, and some white guy get up and ask, was George Washington an Indian? That's one point.
Let's take care of Cleopatra first. Let's get this out of the way.
Right.
Okay. Then another point is...
Hold on 1 second.
No, let's take care of Cleopatra
Professor Clarke
first.
wants to deal with that first.
Okay. What I'm saying is...
No, hold on. Just hold on.
Take care of Cleopatra
Hold on, brother.
first.
Okay.
Professor Clarke's going to deal with that, so just hold on.
Black people should care less than a damn whether Cleopatra was black. Cleopatra was mixed Greek and could have been Persian or African.
Right. That's right.
We are claiming, if we claim Cleopatra, we are not claiming her on the basis of color. We are claiming her on the basis of culture and African loyalty, commitment, and her political sharpness in manipulating Caesar and Anthony and keeping the worst aspect of the Roman Empire from the backs of Africa. She was a sharp politician, and she had African commitments and was supposed to say on her dying bed, I will now join my father the sun. No Greek woman would have said this. Stop this silly argument. Look, there's enough black women unmistakably black. We need to stop using the word black and use a culture term anyway. The word African is a culture term.
Right.
Black tells you how you look, don't tell you who you are.
Right.
That's good.
Wow. Oh, I hear that, brother.
There's another point.
Hold on, brother.
Yeah. Gary?
Yes, brother.
There's another point. There was a city in East Africa called Kilwa. I don't know if...
I know who you're talking about, Kilwa, one of the city-states built by the Africans, ultimately destroyed by the Arabs. Go ahead.
Okay, well, that's just what I want to know about.
That's hot.
That's good.
That's hot.
Okay, that's it. Hello?
Yes, caller.
Gary, that's all I have.
Ain't nothing to say about it other than the fact it was a great trading city where Africans and Arabs, and they met together and they actually sharpened the language called Swahili. Cities like Kilwa, places like Pate, Shofala. And you must study the basic history of East Africa. Read Sir Harry Johnson's The Colonization of Africa by Alien Races, Reginald Copeland's East Africa and Its Invaders. Another work, The Cambridge History of East Africa. Remember, I'm a classroom teacher.
Please don't.
Yeah, Gary?
We're live at the world-famous
Gary?
Apollo. We'll take a break, and we'll come right back in the GBE at Talk Radio 1190 WLIB. Professor John Henrik Clarke is our guest.
At Rubbermaid, we know everyone needs their space.
Mom, I've been thinking, I need my space. So if you can't be more cooperative, I may have to move out.
So we designed the Rubbermaid Keeper line,
Why are you packing my clothes?
a colorful collection of storage boxes and household organizers.
You're packing my bunny slippers?
And Rubbermaid Keepers come in a variety of shapes and sizes to help you put almost anything
Not my music.
in its place.
Mom, I've been thinking I don't need that much space. Thanks, Mom.
Don't you wish everything was made
Mom, I've been thinking.
like Rubbermaid?
Staying abreast of African-American news in your community is easy. It's all in Big Red News, on sale at your newsstand every Friday morning. Big Red News prides itself on serving the community, and we are serious about keeping our readers informed. That's why Big Red News offers you every week important international, national, and local news, as well as happenings in entertainment, sports, business, education, and health. This week, Michael O'Neill reports that Brooklyn's Kings County Hospital is near losing its accreditation and has until February 6th to rectify its problems. Also read Fred Richardson's piece on the turmoil among medallion cabbies, livery drivers, and gypsy cabs. Yes, it's all there. Anytime, anywhere you want to go in comfort and style and luxury to a major cultural, political, or social event, go with a name you can trust. Go when you want to, from door to door. Go by chartered coach. Are you planning a fun-filled bus trip this year to Toronto's Caravana, Boston Carnival, Atlantic City, Virginia Beach, or any destination in the United States or Canada, and looking around for good rates? Well, look no more. Alcan Bus Tours has special rates for these destinations. Alcan, the leading air and air charter travel company, brings you Chartered Coach, a low-cost way for churches, groups, and organizations to turn a profit and have fun at the same time. Call for information and reservations at 718-282-5500. Also, there are daily departure tours to Disney World at great rates through Amtrak. Call today for information and reservations at 718-282-5500. Open Sundays, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Ryder Truck Rentals. Rent a truck, get a college basketball jacket free.
Yeah, I'd like to rent a truck and get one of those free college jackets.
Okay, what size are you looking for?
Extra large?
We have a 24-footer.
Ma'am, I'm only 6'2".
It has automatic transmission.
Does it have a zipper?
Door locks.
How about pockets?
Holds 1,500 cubic feet.
I'll take it.
Good. Now, what color do you want?
Yellow?
Smart choice.
The Ryder College Basketball Jacket Giveaway. See your dealer for details or call 1-800-GO-RYDER. Offer expires March 15th. $4.75 postage and handling required. Limit 1 per consumer rental.
WLIB, New York.
Gary Bird.
We are back live at Talk Radio WLIB. It's 11:53. We're inside of the GBE. Our guest is Professor John Henrik Clarke. He is joining us today. As you know, Dr. Leonard Jeffers will be joining us right after 12 noon today for a 2-hour conversation. We've also been joined by Dr. Arthur Lewis, who is deeply involved in the 4th annual Joseph Ben Jekinen banquet. May we welcome him to the world-famous Apollo along with Professor Clarke. Dr. Lewis, some quick words related to what's coming up on February 7th.
Yes. It's the 4th annual Joseph Ben Jekinen banquet. It's going to be given on Friday, February the 7th, this Friday in the evening from 7 to 11, and it's going to be at the Menacing Townhouse, which is 646 Lenox Avenue. For information, you can call 212 numbers 281-1700 or 281-9088 or 234-8550, and one additional number 281-1700. I'd just like to say very briefly that your support will assist Doc in doing many of his projects. For those who want to purchase tickets, you can do it through the office via the numbers, or you can come to the banquet the night of the banquet, and tickets will be sold, provided that there is seating for you.
Great, thank you. Talk Radio WLIB, we're live on the world-famous Apollo. We'll continue with some of your questions and comments for our guest, Professor John Henrik Clarke. We'll start with the sister to my left.
I know that, thank you. I know that Africans were here first, and I read in the broader file that Africans got on a boat and traveled down the Nile River, and over a period of centuries later, they turned into white people. Or something like that. Could you please, I'm still unclear about that subject.
The Africans were here before 1619. Africans were here before 1619. There was Africans with the Spanish conquistadors, and that's been proven. What we have to understand that there were Africans in the Mediterranean nations that Spain and parts of the Mediterranean were ruled by Africans and Arabs from 711 up until the middle 1400s. And these Africans were skilled craftsmen. And Balboa brought Africans with him, and Pizarro had Africans in the conquest of Peru, and Cortez had an African wheat farmer in the conquest of Mexico. So we've been a part of practically everything in the opening up of the so-called New World. It wasn't new anyway, but we've been a part of it. If I understand the question, if I didn't say so.
Sister, were you posing a question about the evolution of where white people came from?
Right.
Is that what you're asking?
Yes.
Where did white people come from?
Right.
And we're white people, black people who turned white?
Right.
Okay, I just want to make sure we got it. Okay.
Well, that's my knowledge. White people were Africa is the birthplace of all people, and people changed over the years based on climate and inbreeding. And the European, there was a migration from Africa into what is now Europe, and the climate and circumstances changed the Europeans. Now, let me see if I can get you to understand this. The horse once had 5 hooves. Each time he came down, he mostly used 2. After thousands of years, nature subtracted 3. Now it's only 2. Nature generally takes away what you are not using. Wow!
Thank you.
Tuau. Tuau on that. Talk Radio 1190, WLIB. You're live from the world-famous Apollo Theater online with Professor John Henrik Clarke. It's 11:58. Good morning.
Good morning, Gary, and good morning to Dr. Clarke. Hotep to the family as well. I'd like to ask Dr. Clarke if he could comment somewhat on the council at Nicaea and its role as far as biblical interpretation goes.
Well, the conference at Nicaea, it might be best to leave the Bible out of it. It wasn't a biblical interpretation. It was a biblical misinterpretation. Because at Nicaea, 325 A.D., they took the spirituality of African Western Asia and they turned it into a European religion. And from that day forward, that religion became the handmaiden of Europeans' international desire to control the world, and it still is. It became a political weapon in their hand with superficially something to do with religion. You do not understand the practicality of the European mind. Everything the European takes on must facilitate his desire to control the world. Now, before your idea, before your very eyes, in your own time, you've seen world communism fall within a weekend. They were ready to kill and die for it. Whole armies were marshaled against this great evil. And yet the propagators of the evil threw it away one weekend. Break it down. What do they actually believe? They believe in power and control. Does that mean that communism is bad? Not necessarily. The communists were bad, not communism. Communists didn't fail. The communists failed. Now, what they do not understand, what you don't understand, that the system that they call communism was old before Europe was born. It came out of communal living and social living. But the Africans gave to each according to his needs. But they didn't write any great literature about it. They didn't threaten to kill anybody about it. But once in the hands of the European, he dogmatizes and formalizes and threatens people over it. He possesses it. This is why things in his hand get so gummy. It turns on its own, they turn it on those who created it. Now, if you read a book called Shadow of the Third Century by Albert Boyd Kuhn, he quotes St. Augustine, the great African father of the church, who began to laugh at the findings of the priests at Nicaea. He said, these people are trying to give us a religion we had 3,000 years ago. And if you read John Jackson, and John Jackson is very much alive. I visited him in Chicago last weekend. He wrote a book called Christianity Before Christ.
Christianity Before Christ?
Before Christ.
Okay.
And there was Christianity before Christ. And they didn't call it that name.
I'm finding a lot of this very confusing now, being one who professed Christianity a couple of years ago. During the course of 1991, with the information explosion that has taken place, I've now reached a point where I don't just accept things that I'm told, but I'm trying to find out some truth. So in trying to come to grips with all of this, some of the things I'm hearing, it almost makes one wonder if you should continue to even read the Bible. So I'm trying to find out some truth as far as all this information goes.
Brother, that's a very honest statement, and we need to give this brother some energy in relationship to his search. Professor Clarke, what about that dilemma, Professor Clarke? Because it is a dilemma.
Well, he should continue to read the Bible, but remember that the Bible is based on great spiritual lessons copied from Nile Valley Civilization and based partly on folklore, partly on truth.
And look at it from that perspective.
Okay, I don't want to take too much time, but if you get a chance later on, can you talk about I found a discrepancy in the first 5 books of the Bible, which are supposedly written by Moses, and some of my own study, which shows that he lived at an entirely different time than the supposed dates.
They just give Moses credit for writing books. Moses didn't write the books. See that? Moses wrote no books, period. Whoa! Moses brought no commandments down from no hills, period. If he brought 10 commandments down, he took them up there with him because those commandments weren't in existence 4,000 years before he got there.
Getting deep. GBE, getting deep.
Well, I won't take any more of
thank
the
you,
airtime.
brother. We thank you, and we certainly understand the situation that you're in. God bless. Talk Radio WLIB, live at the world famous Apollo. To our brother in the audience.
Yes, sir. Hotep to the family. Dr. Clarke, I've read most of your works and all your tapes, and I want to take you on the proverbial mountaintop and ask you, what do you see for us as African people? I know oftentimes you say that we have to start with just making our own underwear, and I'd like to let you know that there is a brother that's doing that now. But
all right, WLIB, New York.
Well, the brother might have the answer.
Pardon?
The brother might have a better answer than I have. I'm still hanging out with Fruit of the Loom.
So you might want to have the brother get in touch with us, brother. You
Well, may I ask a follow-up, Brother Anthony?
Look, we're 1 billion people on the face of this earth. If we got ourselves together and stop all the nonsense argument where the slave ships put us down instead of where the slave ship took us from, if we don't stop all this divisional nonsense, our future is slavery. We could be one of the greatest, most powerful people on the earth, in as much as 1 billion of us on the earth. We have to make that decision, and nobody can make that decision from us, for us. We have to stop kidding ourselves, take our damn nose out of the air about where we came from, stop all this silly classes, because class system didn't start with us. Anybody with status in our society was responsible. That if you're strong, you mean you're responsible to take care of some of the weak people. If you're rich, that means you're responsible to take care of the poor. So status in the society we've created only gave you more work. You think status means you got to look down at people. No, status means you got to take care of somebody. I'm not going to give up on you ever, but I wish you'd get yourself together and prove to me that you can be something before I leave. Prove.
Yeah. We're live at Talk Radio WLB. A quick break and we'll come right back in the GBE live from the world famous Apollo Theater. Missouri, and the other is out of the country.
Oh, I'm going to University of Missouri tomorrow. Then on the 19th, then on the 14th, I'm going to address black students in McGill University in Montreal, and Dr. Bien will be there. Then I'll come back for the celebration of in tribute to Chancellor Williams. The 19th, I'm going to Japan to address black soldiers there. You quite forget you got a whole army. America has an occupying army in Japan. It's one of the reasons Japan can move so fast that they're not paying for their army while America playing the fool and beating their breath. They're making doctors in Toyota. Taking care of the trade and taking care of their business while somebody else taking care of their defense. But that's all right. If this nation want to act superior, let them go ahead and act superior. They're paying for it too. But the main thing is that you got black soldiers in this army, and very few people go out there to entertain them or talk to them, and some of them are serious. They don't want just somebody to come and play a little music, do a little bop. They want somebody to come up there and talk to them serious about their history. So I'm going to go out there and spend a few days discussing history and talking to they have schools there for the soldiers' children, and I'm speaking to the children and the faculty, and then I heard that things are so high in Japan you can't even buy a souvenir. I hope I can afford a postcard. I told someone I was going to buy them a kimono, and they told me the price of a kimono, and I apologize for promising. That's going to eat up the lecture fee. But I've enjoyed being with you this morning. I enjoy being with you any morning, and right now I'm rushing back to make another assignment and pack for Missouri tomorrow. And I'm always on the go. I'm very glad that I'm still active at this age. I'm glad.
Yes, so are we. So are we.
Thank you. Now the question, and
here's the question. Get your ears perked up.
I'm going to have to whisper the answer to Gary, but During the Depression, there were many bank failures. And there was one bank that remained sovereign and stable throughout the whole of the Depression. It was headed by a black woman, named the black woman who headed that bank.
Let's hear it for Dr. John Henrik Clarke, joining us live from the world-famous Apollo Theater today inside of the GBE. Again, let's hear it. Dr. John Henrik Clarke. Yeah, boom. I say. Well, on that note, we will close, and while you are standing now, I know you will sit and ponder this question, and we'll come back and see if you know the answer to it when we come back live from the Apollo at Talk Radio WLIB. WLIB, February 3rd, 1992, as you know, it is Africana History Month, and we just got to say it again. Wasn't Professor John Henrik Clarke fantastic? I told you. Boy. See, you know, it's like the whole thing of turning into an elder. You know, if you know that your mind is going to be on that kind of tip, you're ready to move, right? There's no doubt about it. It's encouraging. That's all I can say, but it's a lot of work without doubt. As you know, he posed a question just a moment ago related to the bank. In this particular instance, during the Depression, the bank, which actually remained solvent during the Depression, and we need to know the sister's name. And I'm not giving any hints. And let's see what I got for you. I got a couple things, actually. A pair of tickets to a Valentine's Day triple bill show to see the Wild Magnolias, a vibrant Mardi Gras Indian tribe, women of the Calabash, group of soulful Afro-Caribbean vocalists, and Kanza, an explosive Zairian souk band that actually all be appearing at the Town Hall on Friday, February 14th at 8 p.m. Now, you will have to guess the answer to that particular question. Also, I got something else for you, too. Hold on. I got more tickets. I got a pass for two for a special screening of the new comedy film, The Lunatic, which is